Hey guys, Ryan Earnhardt here from CreativeSoundLab.tv. Well, I'm here in my new quarantine studio space. I was pretty nervous about not being able to get to the studio. My studio is downtown. It's only about 5 minutes away from my house here, but I just really wanted to be able to stay here with my family, not get, say, stuck at the studio, separated from my family. I wanted to be able to get work done without having to worry about being stopped, late at night, because I usually work pretty late at night. So I moved a lot of my mixing gear here, and I have a lot of footage kind of in the bank already filmed. I might be able to get over to the studio and film some drum topics or guitar topics, stuff like that. But I even brought my ISO cab here to the house, so I can do quite a bit from here at the house. And I wanted to show you kind of around my new studio. I've spent a little over a week putting it together, and it's kind of interesting. I mean, it's not exactly an ideal space, but I think I could definitely mix in this room. I mean, it actually sounds pretty good. Now, I want to mention that my sale is still going on, my Cabin Fever sale. Any course for $5. This is kind of my attempt to give you something positive to focus on. I know there's just kind of a lot going on. Anxiety can be really high right now, and hey, put yourself in a better place mentally. Focus on something new, learn something. Doesn't have to be my course, but I want to make these available and easily obtainable for lots of people. So right now, everything is $5 with my Cabin Fever sale. Follow the link in the upper right or in the description if you're looking at checking that out. So a little bit about this studio here. This was actually a playroom. It's actually a wraparound porch, and this used to be part of the wraparound porch, and then it was enclosed and turned into kind of a sunroom, or we've used it as a playroom for the kids. And it's only about 8 feet across. It's not very big, and the ceilings are maybe 7 or 8 feet, and it's kind of long, maybe about 20 feet long. So for starters, I knew that I wanted to film at this space. I knew that I just wanted to have a space where I could keep working no matter what happened on the outside world. But I wanted to make sure that I could set up lots of gear and really continue in kind of this direction that I'm trying to go, where if I'm doing a mixing topic, try to keep it hands-on. Try to avoid screen recording as much as possible. And not that that's bad, but there's just something kind of cool about using cameras to make a tutorial and just actually touching knobs and explaining things that way. And so I wanted to be able to set up gear and just kind of be able to spread out. And a lot of times the distance in video filming is important because things in the background can be blurred out that way. You get a lot better depth of field, a three-dimensional video look. But to be honest, for audio and mixing concerns, I just didn't want to be in a corner. So I know that a lot of times they say to set the studio so that your speakers, your monitors can kind of play, long ways in the room. I don't know if that's a rule or best practice, but I'm breaking that. I'm totally breaking it because I can touch this sound panel right here, and it's really not that much space at all. By doing that, I avoid the corner, and then it just makes it easy for me to film videos. Aside from that, I tried to really make the best of the room. I put in absorption behind the monitors here. I put some decently heavy absorption right above the desk. I also did a layer of just regular isolation that you can buy to put in walls and things. And then I put another sound panel on top of that. So I actually have a density change in the absorption above my head. It's OC703, 2 inches of that. Then it's R13 insulation, and then it's 2 more inches of OC703. And by doing that, I'm able to hopefully make the absorption more effective that way. I also have it at an angle, so hopefully able to catch frequencies not only top to bottom, but a little on the side to side. And I don't know how accurate this is, but I like to think that it kind of is more of a range of frequencies than just catching whatever happens to be the quarter wavelength of the top to bottom here. Now, a lot of times you try to place absorption. Some of this I should probably revisit, but place it about 25% of the way into the room from the walls. And a lot of times, if there's a resonant frequency, there's the most movement of air. It's kind of like a pulse. So instead of a wave, if you think of it, it's more of like a move and then slow down, and then move and then slow down. And you actually want to catch the wave as it's moving the most. And if you put your trap right here where it moves and then slows down and then moves and slows down again, the trap isn't doing a whole lot. But if you can actually put it where the sound wave is kind of having the most movement, then you can be more effective. And that's why putting your absorption away from the wall is actually more helpful, because for that harmful resonance, you're actually able to treat it a little bit better because you're getting more towards 25% of the way in. So that's the idea, okay? I have it a couple feet down from the ceiling. It's angled a little bit, just to maybe vary the frequencies of whatever they may be. I think that might be like 1130 divided by 8. I don't even know, but I'm gonna guess like 125, 130, something like that. So it's definitely kind of a pain in the ass when you're doing something with toms and all of a sudden like the high tom just jumps out and it's just way too loud. So anyways, I tried to do absorption as many places as possible. I even have like these kind of tea time pillows that are kind of like oversized pillows, and they're probably 18 inches across, and they're really thick, and they're great for just kind of stuffing in spaces, things like that. So I have them actually stuffed in the desk here, stuffed behind the desk, so that's kind of occupying some of the negative space there. And then this trap here is actually 2 inches of OC 703, and then I just stuffed some insulation in behind that. I have a panel there that I just kind of figured I could hang somehow, and it kind of looks cool. It ended up kind of hanging at an angle, and I'm sure it helps to kind of trap some low frequencies that might be building up in that corner. I have a corner trap, and I have another of those big pillows in that corner. I just kind of ran out of supplies. I didn't want to completely tear apart the other studio. But let me show you that pillow. Okay, so here is the pillow. And, it's a great pillow for, you can throw it down on the floor and kind of kill a flutter if you need to. You can stuff it in the corner. And here I've chosen to, because it's a spare, to stuff it in this back left corner here. But this is the kind of stuff, I think I have like 6 of these stuffed in the desk, behind the desk, on the floor there. So there's actually a lot going on. Aside from that, I have a packing blanket over some French doors right here. I have a packing blanket blocking a window that's right straight behind me. I think 4 panels right here. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I have some curtains right there. So a carpet on the ground. That's pretty much it. So I'm able to kind of get the reflections down, but it's more about the low frequencies. A lot of times in a small room like this, you end up having to treat the low end, and by the time you get done with the low end, you've actually over-absorbed the high end. So sometimes you hear people talking about leaving the plastic on insulation, things like that, or a foil-faced OC703, stuff like that. I actually have a black, you could call it like an anti-reflector. It's not supposed to reflect anything. And this actually reflects a little bit of the high frequencies. So just by the way of trying to get my Rembrandt lighting here, I'm actually kind of boosting up some of the high frequencies using this reflector. So there's lots of ways you can kind of do this. If you don't have an ideal studio, there's still a lot that you can do and a lot that you can try. And I know about what sounds good and what to expect and what to listen for. I'm pretty satisfied with this. I mean, I'm pretty sure that I could get really good sounding mixes out of this place. So yeah, I mean, keep trying different stuff. It might help that this isn't a square. So if you're in a bedroom, that could be definitely challenging. But the more you can treat the corners, treat the reflections, the better off you're going to be. So I have kind of a couple things in the works. This is really the first time I filmed in this new studio, and I don't know how long this virus stuff is going to last, but unfortunately we're going to have to move out of this place. Now, so far I have my converters and my preamps, a lot of borrowed preamps actually from my friend Garrett, but I have those self-contained in a 4-unit SKB case, and that way if I get a chance to go to the studio, I can just grab all my preamps, go with my Mac Mini, and make some basic recordings and some basic mic tests. But for now, I have them on top of my rolling table. And in that rolling table, I have 12 unit spaces for rack gear. At the very top, I have a drawer. I have the Audioscape 76A, the Weight Take WT Comp, the Warm Audio EQP WA, and the Weight Take WT 72. So this isn't exactly the order I had planned on. It's kind of just the order I have right now. I'm actually building another rack so I can organize stuff a little bit better. But that's this rack here. Then over in this rack, you can call that like the main rack. I have the Weight Tank WT72, Audioscape EQP-A, 2 plasma racks by Game Changer Audio, the DBX 900 rack. This is not 500 series. It's the same size on the faceplate, but it's actually a lot deeper. And inside the DBX 900s, we have some 904 gates, some 903 compressors, which are very similar to 160 XT or maybe 160A, I'm not sure. We have a 905, we have a 902, and a 907, which is kind of a rare bird, but it is a kind of a stereo. It converts one of the 903s to a stereo compressor. It's supposed to be kind of a different kind of way than just stereo linking them. The 902 is actually a really nice de-esser, and what's cool about this is that I have a few of these racks. I've been kind of trying to build almost like a console where it flows down through various racks, but all these different things are available for under $100. So if you're looking to get some outboard, this is actually a great place to start. The chassis, I'm actually seeing them for under $100 on eBay, and all the compressors and stuff, also you can find them for under $100. It's actually a really great place to start. Below that, we have the DBX 164, which is a stereo version of the 163. And I don't know if I've talked about the 163X yet, but I have a video idea coming up that's going to be like the poor man's LA2A, and that is the 163X. And you can get these things for like $80 to $100. They're not optical, okay? It's not in that way, but the way that you use the compressor is similar to an LA2A. The 163X has one knob and an output. Sounds familiar, right? Sounds kind of like the LA2A. So it sounds actually really nice on bass guitar. It's decent on vocals, but it actually is really amazing on kick, drum room. It's just, for the things that it does well, it's really amazing. And in fact, the things that it doesn't do well, it's still actually really great. I've used it a lot for my dialogue mic, actually, so you've been hearing it all along, but it's actually a great compressor for under $100. Oh, I forgot the DBX 160 XT. Going down below, the DBX 166, which is kind of a modded version that somebody did. Instead of 16-volt rails, it's been upgraded to a higher voltage, 24, and it basically gives the unit more headroom, a cleaner, more transparent sound. It's kind of a more basic compressor. I still like the 903s better. Then we have the Tiegler Audio Creme compressor. And below that we have a completely unused set of patch bays. And I'm going to be making a video on the back side of the patch bay and really how to view patch bays as a two-sided affair. It's not just the stuff you see on the front. Somebody pointed this out, that nobody ever talks about what's going on in the back, and they just don't get it. So I'm going to make that video either later tonight or tomorrow. For monitoring, we have the NS10s that I bought from Mixerman, and these NS10s were actually used for a lot of different albums that he did for a range of probably 15 years. Ben Harper, all of his stuff was mixed on these NS10s. I believe with starting with Burn to Shine, perhaps. Kisses on You song by Ben Harper, that was actually mixed on these exact monitors. So kind of cool. And then this is actually Mixerman's here. I'll probably buy this off of him. It's really great. But these are some new guys here, and I haven't really talked about these yet, but this is the Kali Audio. Kali is K-A-L-I. And these are the IN8s. So IN stands for Independence, California. It's a town in California. And these are actually three-way monitors. So coincident or coaxial or concentric is the top here. So this is mids and highs, and then the lows and the bottom there. And to be honest, I feel like I can finally get the sense of where my vocals are in the mix. I still have my Focals, still those 6 BEs, and every time I switch, it's like jarring because something about where it cuts with the crossover, like snares sound different, and you can kind of hear it go, I don't know. It's really hard to hear how loud the vocal is on the solo 6s. I don't know why. But with these, I feel like maybe it's just because there's a mid and it just doesn't mess with the vocals so much that I really can tell how loud they are. And it's almost like the NS10s, but with actual bass and some similar top end. They just sound great. I mean, the dip switches on the back, they're made for different situations, but I found that I just kind of go between them and find one that I like. They all sound good, but just a little different, and I just try to get it to sound like what I'm expecting it to sound like. In a new room, I was able to find a setting that actually I think works really well, and that's a huge plus for these. So yeah, I'm really happy with these. And these are like $400 a piece. So $400, $800 for a pair. Kali Audio, you got to check them out. This is a little bit of my studio here. You can see I've, organized stuff. There's video stuff up here. There's audio related things over there. There's a lot going on here. But my goal is to really keep making content because I know that pretty much everybody's stuck at home. Well, I'm stuck at home too, and I'm going to keep making the videos. I want to put them out as much as I possibly can. So I have some fun videos in the works. I'd love to know if you have any ideas for me of what you'd like me to make a video on. It could be just about anything except drums or except anything I have to retrack a vocalist or an acoustic guitarist or anything like that. Electric guitar, I could always find some DI tracks. So maybe somebody that wants to send over some DI tracks, and I can use either my living room and fire up an amp in there or the ISO box in my basement. So yeah, I'd love to know your thoughts. If there's any topics you want me to cover. Again, don't forget about the $5 Cabin Fever sale. It's a great way to spend your time, learn something new focus on something positive, get off the news, and learn something, develop your skills. So, I'll be hanging out in the comments below. Talk to you soon.